In his final manuscript, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community? Dr. King wrote that power properly understood is the ability to achieve purpose. It is the strength required to bring about social and economic and political change. Standing here on the first day of Black History Month, on this sacred ground that holds so much history and honor, I could feel it as I stepped onto this campus and as I stepped into this room. The sense of hope and possibility permeates everywhere. I feel surrounded by your power. I feel surrounded by your purpose. As we commemorate and as we celebrate and as we remember a part of American history that played such a significant role in who we are and why. Dean Jackson, I want to thank most especially who took us this morning on this phenomenal historic journey. And the first question I asked him was, is that required of all the students to go through the chapel and all the portraits on the wall? And what I learned this morning, not only about the history of Morehouse, but the history of the world, honestly. What an incredible opportunity the Dean gave us this morning. And Dean Jackson for that thoughtful and kind introduction, and the leadership here at this school, Dr. Carter, all of you that have not only lived the traditions of Morehouse, but have lived the traditions of our people. Standing here with you today, I can't tell you how honored I am to look out at your faces and to know that we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay because of you, the men of Morehouse. You look magnificent. As I look into this audience, there's no place I'd rather be than here at Morehouse College, where you have dedicated everything to the education of Black men from around the world. I have two special folks that have helped to put this together. Darian, where are you? There you are. Where you at, Darian? There he is. And Demetrius over here, who serves with me on the NEA Board of Directors. If you don't know these young men, you should. I have joining me my colleague at the NEA, Merwin, who is in class of, what class, Merwin? 1992. 1992, yeah. And his son, Miles, I didn't see Miles yet. Where you at? There he is. He's in the audience back there. Yeah. So Merwin, and I'm sure you already do this, but there's not a place I go where Merwin's not talking, oh yeah, he graduated from Morehouse. Oh yeah, he graduated from Morehouse. Oh yeah, he graduated from Morehouse. All the important people graduated from Morehouse. Mostly him, but all the important people graduated from Morehouse. And he's proud as he talks about the Morehouse mystique and the 5 wells of leadership and how it guides his life to this day. I know that, or at least I hope, I know we were inviting into the Crown Forum, and I know after we had changed places, maybe not, but we invited folks from Spelman and from Clark Atlanta to join us here today as well. And we want to make sure that continued partnership, especially as I talk to you about the need for more Black educators going into the field, that we are building on that partnership. You know, I said to the team this morning, I taught for 31 years middle school, a special time in your lives, and I loved it. I loved every day of it. And now I am the president of the National Education Association. And I say every day, and this day is especially true, I get to do this job. I get to do this job. I hope that as you leave these hallowed halls, that you will find a career as I have, where you can say every day, I get to do that job. With 3 million members all over this country and around the world, I would say that most of you in this room probably got here by way of a public school, which means that probably you have had many an NEA member impacting your lives and your trajectory. I, of course, as you heard, hail from the great city of Philadelphia. Where are my Philly folk? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And I understand we have one of the largest classes recruited from Philly this year. Keep up the good work. I am proud of that. But I will tell you that I will steep my comments this morning in the fact that I'm proud to be the daughter of a public school teacher, Haywood Harrison Board. He taught history. I wish he were still here with me now, so I could talk to him about the surreal reality of this moment, the intensified marginalization of and hatred toward the LGBTQ community, book bans, public school teachers being attacked for trying to teach the truth of this nation's history, the reality that we're trying in this moment to hinder our students' freedom to learn, and the reality of the Black men and women being killed by those who have been sworn to protect them. As a history teacher, my dad would make me and my 2 sisters listen to him all the time, talk about the history of this nation and the world. He took us to Charlottesville, Virginia, where our ancestors were enslaved, and he would tell us the stories of those people who looked like us, but he also told us the stories of those who didn't. He wanted us to understand that when you follow the trajectories of civilizations and empires and governments and societies throughout history, you can watch their rise and you can watch their fall. One of the things he was adamant about telling us and ensuring that we learned was that it doesn't matter which society you're talking about. When you start to see those who are in positions of power trying to diminish the opportunities for its citizens to learn, that, he said, was the warning sign for the ascent of fascist regimes and diminished rights and the descent of democracies and freedoms. Public education is the foundation of our and any democracy. So we must understand, you must understand what we are witnessing in this moment. As those in our country who are in positions of power, who are doing everything they can to undermine public education, to privatize it, to continue to take funds away from it, to try to portray it as failing, to demoralize education professionals who have dedicated their lives to educating this nation's students, to marginalizing and mischaracterizing and otherizing our students. Make no mistake, opponents of public education are doing everything they can to remove those things and those people that would block their unfettered march toward power. I need you to understand what I'm saying in this moment, because you have a role to play. They are preparing to put policies and people in place so we are unable to reverse the course for generations. It is the very basis of the establishment of a system of apartheid. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? I need you to understand what's at stake. It starts by not allowing our students access and opportunity to knowing the full breadth and depth of our history, by limiting their ability to learn, to think critically, and solve problems in a collaborative way. It starts by shrinking and whitewashing the curriculum. It starts by feeding the inequities that are built into every social system in this country. And so we must remember Dr. King's warning to those who stand against fairness and freedom. You've heard this many times: the arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to sit down with Dr. Hassan Jeffries, a professor of history at the Ohio State University. And I believe he's a Morehouse brother, is he not? Yes, he is, class of 1994. Professor Jeffries said this about those words of Dr. King. He said, if we want that arc, that moral arc, to bend towards justice, then we have to exert the force that is necessary, right? I'm a science teacher. I teach a lot about forces. Gotta exert an equal amount of force, right? And then when we do that, when we exert that force, then we can bend that arc in that direction. And he went on to say that the people with the power to bend that arc are educators. I got a big old smile on my face when he said that, of course. But he was right. He said that educators touch the lives of everyone. Each of you in this room has the power to wield that kind of force that Dr. Jeffries talked about. In today's classrooms, more than half of all of our public school students are students of color. Yet more than 80% of our education population, our education professionals, are white. Educators know, and I'm sure each of you know from your own experience here throughout the AU Center, when students, all students by the way, are exposed to educators whose experiences and faces mirror their own, we boost all of our students' chances for success. So you see, the math is very simple. Increasing the numbers of Black educators, especially Black male educators, will help our Black students succeed. Meeting that goal requires that we also conquer some challenges, especially the growing educator shortage. Now, I talk a lot about that. I get questions about the educator shortage all the time, and it's real. It is real. But what I say is that it's not that we have a shortage of people who would follow their passion into education. What we really have in this country is a shortage of dignity and fair pay and respect for educators. That's what we have a shortage of. That's why the NEA works every day in every state across this nation to ensure that educators get the pay and authority and autonomy and respect that they deserve, along with the student debt relief that they need so they can stay in the profession and raise families, and they can buy houses, and they can live. That's what we are fighting for. So as you spend your time planning your own future, hopefully, following in the footsteps of so many great people who have walked before you, I ask you to consider or to reconsider what you can do to help shape the future of those who follow in your footsteps. What you can do right now is to consider a career in education. I do an Instagram live series on honesty in education, because we have to talk about that all the time. Last week, I invited a guest on with me that is a teacher in Baltimore County, Maryland. Keith Kelsey is a music teacher, and I asked him to talk about his leadership in the community schools efforts that are going on in that state right now. And I will tell you that whenever I talk to educators, I did it this morning with our aspiring educators, I always ask a teacher to tell me their why. Why? Why did they go into teaching? And I have to tell you, especially now, I also go on and ask them why did they stay. Keith's why stemmed from the fact that he had only had 2 black teachers during his entire life. And he knew, like him, other black males needed the opportunity to learn from and be guided by someone who actually had the lived experience of being born black. He was determined to be that person. And now he is impacting hundreds of lives every single year. As you think about your own why, those of you who have decided to follow me and Keith into the teaching profession, you must always remember and center yourselves in that why. And for those of you who are choosing a different path, you also must explore your why. And as you do that, I need you to think about what your role is and must be in ensuring your generation and those who follow you embrace how band author, I actually never speak anymore without quoting a band author, ever. So I'm going to quote one today, too. And if you don't know her, that's homework that Mrs. Pringle just gave you. Her name is Bell Hooks. And if you've not read her work, you must. And I usually choose her because it's kind of bizarre to me. It's absurd that this incredible activist would be banned. This woman who spent her life talking about love and liberation. So I almost always go to her. But she describes education as the practice of freedom. The practice of freedom. Whether you're a mentor to young black boys or you end up running a multi-million-dollar company, I need you to commit that you will be part of our movement to reclaim public education as a common good, as the foundation of this democracy. But you can't stop there, because I know you know that public education was never designed for people who look like you and who look like me. So we have to strengthen it in a way that is designed to be racially and socially just and equitable system that prepares every student, everyone to succeed in this diverse and interdependent world. I need you to make that commitment. That is your moral obligation. And I don't care what profession you go into. It is your professional responsibility. Because public education is what will save this democracy. To do that, I need you to raise your voices at the ballot box. And I need you to get everyone who loves you or likes you or who you live with to go there too. I need you to do that. I need you to support our educators' freedom to teach and our students' freedom to learn. I need you to stand up for every woman's right to control her own body. I need you to do that, men of Morehouse. I need you to do that. I need you to stand up for the rights of our LGBTQ plus students. I need you, men of Morehouse, to do that. You are the hope that we have to actually live into the poetry of our United States Constitution. It is we the people, all of us deserve the right to freedom and equality, every one of us. I need you to understand that right now, you are the just leaders of the society we want to create. I need you to understand right now that you must do everything you can. So we, all of us, can be worthy of our children. Thank you so very much for all you do right now and all I'm imagining you will do, not just joining me in my profession, but taking your place in our democracy. Thank you.
So we want to thank President Becky Pringle for bringing this message to us. If we can get another round of applause on that. Now we'd like to do what I know that she's most passionate about, and that's to engage in some discussion. I know our time is short, so we'll take about 10 minutes. We have three discussants. We have the gentleman, Demetrius, I'm sorry. Demetrius is a leader of the student chapter from CAU of NEA, and also a member of the board of NEA. He joins us today. And we have Vice President of the SGA, Darian. I think I'm better with that. So once again, I want to thank SGA for the support that they're bringing. They've done a tremendous job in organizing what's happening here today. And we have Dr. Welcher, Chair of the Sociology Department. I'm Cynthia Hewitt. I'm an associate professor in sociology and director of ICLS. And I urge you all to join us in ICLS in doing activities to support the things we're going to talk about today. So without further ado, who would like to start?
I can start. Hello, everyone. My name is Demetrius Dove. I am a senior elementary education major at Clark Atlanta University. I humbly serve as the Georgia Association of Educators Aspiring Educator Program President for the state, as well as I serve on the National Education Association's Board of Directors, along with President Pringle. So, President Pringle, today you spoke about exerting force in order to bend the arc towards justice. And as some of you here may know and some of you may not know, the Aspiring Educators Program of the NEA provides a community of about 45,000 aspiring educators across this country with professional development, resources, insurance, political activism training, and social justice practices for the classroom and beyond. And so you have intentionally advocated as the president of the National Education Association that it is important that leaders in various movements should engage and listen to student voices and uplift them as student advocacies. Can you share with us why this is important to you, seeing the many leaders who are here in this room today, and also how does the NEA continue to uplift student voice? I know you've heard this said to you before, that your students are the leaders of tomorrow. You've heard that, right? Yeah. No, that's not right. Yes, that's true. And you are the leaders right now. So it's important for us to create the space to listen and learn, because the solutions and the ideas and the innovations, the strategies that you're imagining has to be part of everything we do right now. We can't think about how we solve the educator shortage, particularly when we're talking about black male educators, thinking it up. I thought for 30 years. That's a long time ago. I've been on this earth for a minute. So you have to be part of that conversation. So wherever I go, I always do this. I always convene groups of young leaders, young people, so I can listen and I can learn and I can create space for them to be the leaders I need them to be right now, and make decisions, better informed decisions, because of what they say to me.
Thank you so very much for that. My name is Darion Johnson, Jr., Educational Studies and Sociology double major on the pre-law track from West Palm Beach, Florida, and I humbly serve as the 87th Vice President of the Student Government Association. My question is geared towards passion, right? So this morning we spoke about the areas of passion, passion and pay, right? And trying to bring back that innovation between education. And there's a lot of ways we can be innovative with the posture of education. So how can us as black males and yourself with the NEA ignite that passion again for education so that people are more interested in the posture and the professionalism of education?
So as I listen to students around the country, of course they talk about the salaries of educators, particularly our black males, aspiring educators. And so as a union, that's something we are focused on fighting for and changing. We know that in states where they have collective bargaining rights, union rights, in collective bargaining, the teacher pay is higher, significantly higher, because they have that right. So we are continuing that work as a union, but we're also listening as we listen to, okay, what else is it? And it is a matter of the respect as a profession. I say this all the time, anybody that ever went to school thinks they know how to teach school. No. And make laws about how we teach. No. What other profession does that happen? Where somebody who hasn't spent a day in my classroom is coming in my classroom telling me what to, no. And so we're fighting to make sure that we have that professional authority and autonomy. And the last thing I hear people saying to me, especially young black males, is that there are no opportunities for leadership in the classroom. And so one of the things the NEA is working on is what we call teacher leadership, specifically programs like Leaders for Just Schools that we run at the NEA, where we're founded in our racial and social justice work. Grounded in our racial and social justice work, so that educators can stay in the classroom with the students. They can leave from those classrooms making policy decisions. They can get higher pay in those classrooms as they reach out and mentor other teachers, but they can still be working with the students. So those are some of the things that we heard and that we have been fighting for at the NEA.
So, President Pringle, I just want to say your speech had me on fire. I was about to jump out of my seat. And a number of you all have had classes with me on campus, or certainly those of you that have had my J-Mester, Sociology of Education, and Inequality course, y'all know that I was busting up out of my seat. The question that I have for you is, at a population of the students that we have in the Atlanta University Center, many who come from middle-class backgrounds, many who attended private schools or had access to some of the accoutrements that the average public school student may not, how does education matter for them? 50% of our majors are business majors at Morehouse. I don't know that we're going to be able to convince them to become an education studies major. Why does education matter? Because it touches all of us. Can you talk a little bit about how it matters for every single person in this room?
So whether or not our students or families choose to go to private schools, it doesn't change the reality that as a democracy, we have to have a system where every student, every person has access to a high quality education. That family can decide, make that decision to do that, but they also have a responsibility. Just like I said to all of you, it doesn't matter what you major in. Certainly if you go into finance, come help us. Close that gap, that inequitable funding that exists in school systems all over this country. Come help us figure that out. If that's your area of expertise. Like I said, if you go on and you go into business for yourselves, you still have a responsibility to your community. And at the heart of that community is your public school. And so you need to find ways that you're partnering with educators and that community school in a way that it reflects that you actually understand. That you heard me saying it. I said it many times. Every student. If we actually mean every, it takes everyone. So we've got to think about that system in a way that we know it is a shared responsibility that we educate every student.
Thank you, President Pringle, once again for being here. So when you see the hundreds of students here in this room, who many have defied the odds to be able to sit in these very seats to obtain equitable education from these premier HBCUs in Atlanta, because there's no place like the Atlanta University Center, what would you like to leave with the students as they continue their education journey and future career paths?
So let me first of all say this. I mean, this is still true. Over 50% of the black teachers in our public schools today are educated at an HBCU. And as I met with the leaders here at Morehouse this morning, we had a really incredible and inspired, honestly, conversation about ways that this institution can partner with the NEA to actually increase those numbers of black men who are going to and staying in the profession. We not only have a problem of attracting them to the profession, but keeping them in the profession. And so we're thinking about ways that we can partner with you here at Morehouse to help us do that. So if any of you are interested in helping us just think about that, please let your leaders here know that you're interested in partnering with us on that. And I can't emphasize enough, whether you decide you're going into education or not, it's still I'm inviting you to do that. Let me leave you with this. I often talk about as a union leader, the power of solidarity, the power of collective action. And that when we have spaces like this, that I know you create here on Morehouse College, where you can come together and you can think together in a collaborative way so that you increase the quality of the results that you get. It is important for you to understand the connections that you have to each other here, but so far beyond this college campus. And so as I leave you here today, I'll leave you with this. This is Gwendolyn Brooks. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. You know that on this campus. I see it, I feel it. Merwin tells me it all the time. But it's not just here. That responsibility, that connection, that bond goes beyond. And I want to encourage you to continue to learn all you can. And then I need you to remember that you are not just leaders now, but we're looking to you to be those leaders who ensure that every student means every student.
With that, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today, and I'd like to make an announcement regarding our internship fair. So following this activity, we have a fair where we have an internship opportunity where you'll hear 3 Morehouse alumni talk about their journey from being a student here to positions within decision-making and policy-making organizations, and how they would like you to join them in those kinds of activities. So we have the Southern Education Fund, we have representatives of Penn State, we have other unions, AFSCME, we have the Georgia Justice Project, we have organizations from who support interns and lobbying in DC. And as I say, I would love for you all to move from here and do join us at the internship fair, which is in Kilgore, 2nd floor. We have snacks, a little bit of something to keep you going midday. And we hope you'll find something that'll allow you to connect and to move forward. So I think without further ado, I thank you all for being here, and have a great day.
Okay, we're going to hold on to the tradition. We are going to stand in closed crown form, as we always do, with dear old Morehouse. Thank you, my brothers.
Thank you.